When I was in high school, I became very ill. Nobody knew what was wrong with me. After a while, they sort of got the idea that I was sick, really sick. You can only miss so many classes before people start to understand that there's something wrong. But it wasn't for a while that anyone was able to put a name to what was happening to me. That was scary. Mostly I just wanted to be left alone. But when you are an honors student in high school and you're not doing very well and you can't make it to school, you're not likely to get left alone very easily. I don't know, maybe that's a good thing. Probably. I suppose means people care. Sometimes it felt more like they couldn't understand and they were trying to put the world back in the way that it should be, rather than understanding that I was ill, at least in a conventional manner. It turns out I was quite conventionally ill. I had a thyroid problem. My thyroid gland wasn't, well, doing enough or much at all. And, well, by that time with an underactive thyroid, I had all kinds of spin-off problems, I suppose. Anxiety, depression sometimes. That one comes and goes. Right now it seems to have gone for the most part, so that's happy news. But I was so tired. My body hurt. I wasn't the kind of tired where you could go to sleep and sleep all the time. I was just exhausted, but not sleepy. Finally, I was diagnosed, and I was, well, my parents thought that it would be a really good idea for me to enroll in the local community college, which was, in retrospect, an incredibly good idea. It was probably the best thing I could have done. So, at the time I felt a little frightened. So I started taking classes and, well, I'd been taking advanced classes in pretty much every subject, but that didn't mean that I was able to skip right ahead to advanced classes in college. I'd missed sometimes a year or two of instruction, and sometimes things that I'd learned didn't make much sense to me, so I needed to go back, especially with math, and take the pre-calc classes again, which was fine, except that it was so hard. I think that I took pre-calc 3 times. It was difficult because I felt like there were greater misunderstandings, like somehow along there I'd failed to grasp number theory in a useful way, and now they wanted me to work with it, and how on earth are you supposed to do anything useful with a fraction if you don't understand why it's a fraction? If you don't understand the relation between exponents, negative exponents, and fractions. Well, exponents in general, I suppose. So, my book had, at the beginning, the properties of real numbers, and I pored over those until I felt like I really understood what every single one of them meant, not just to repeat the definition, but I understood logically why each property would be so, like the commutative property of addition. I'd imagine it in physical space, and then I had to get creative because of negative numbers, you know, and fractions. So, math. Geometry and trigonometry came fairly easily to me, but algebra, not algebra. That one I had to fight for. Calculus was kind of a mixed bag. It was pretty hard, but I got through it. I was a solid B calc student after all of that pain and taking the prerequisites 3 times. I was finally able to take calculus and pass it. I didn't understand it entirely or very well until a few years later when I started studying things that used calculus, like physics. But it was a start. That's why I'm so enamored of numbers and the properties of numbers, real numbers. If you ever wonder why there are so many videos of me reciting numbers on this channel, well, for one thing, it takes about as much prep time as I've been able to muster, but for a larger part, I just really like numbers. And that's all. This was Vex Verity, and good night.